I got a feeling that you got me covered too. I got you covered. I got you covered.
Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing? Yeah, it's morning. I don't know if I'm too with it yet. Haven't had my coffee, but I have my Mama Bear cup, my trusted coffee with me. We'll give people a few minutes to come on in, see how everybody's doing this morning. Devotions have been different. Devotions have been a little delayed. I had a little bit of stomach bug over the past couple days. So I'm feeling better. I've just been taking it really easy. Now I know our snowman, hi Kristen, I know our snowman is still up and it's not going anywhere. It's Elvis, the snowman. And if you hear the noise, the lawnmen are here in our community. But the snowman's staying. I may try to figure out how I could let it snow go away. But as far as I'm concerned, it can snow anytime. But you can see, and I may add some more over on this. I just haven't, with the stomach bug, haven't had time. Look what I found over the weekend, last week at Dollar Tree. Easter egg disco balls. Do y'all not see those? So I put two of them up there. I'll probably try to put some like back in here, and so forth on the thing. But I thought that they had like little tires that I just could tie real quick, but they don't. So I will try to put a couple up for the next couple, till the end of the month and have our disco ball eggs. Aren't they adorable? I had them in blue and purple. I'm like, that's right up our alley. That's our colors for Blessed to Crochet. So as you're coming in today, hopefully you've brought your beverage of choice, coffee or tea or water or whatever, or protein drink, whatever you drink. So this is the way this is going to work. And if you have more topics, we can just add to the wheel. But every Wednesday at 9:45, we're going to get together. I may not be fully awake yet. I promise you it may not happen, but I will try to be here. And we're going to have a wheel. We're going to spin it. So I am looking and I'll be happy to accept further topics that I can add to the wheel. I will go ahead on the community post and tell you what topics we have added to the wheel. And then this way you can all tell me whether or not that is something that's any other topics. I forgot to ask the question for today. So the question would be, what topics would you like to discuss? And if I see one that's not on the wheel, I'll make a note in my phone. So the question today is, what topics would you like? Hi, Dot. I figured out maybe this would be sometime. Hi, Highway. I know. So I figured out this may be a time too where a lot of people may not have kind of forgotten about Best to Crochet a little bit. And so by this coming in morning, we maybe get some people that, are going, oh, yeah, they're still here. Yeah, we're still existing and we're still trying to grow. So remember, you do not have to crochet to be a part of this community. We are crocheting connection. Don't need a crochet hook. Don't need to know how to crochet. Just part of the name. We are B2C. If you want to change it to Blessing to Connect, that's fine. So I've got our wheel. I've got, I don't know how many topics I put down on there, 60. And we're going to pick a topic and we're just going to roll with it. Now this time, because of the way I've been feeling over the past couple of days, I did not have a chance to really do any kind of little things where I could have articles ready for each topic, but I will next week. I just didn't prepare it. But today we're going to wing it. So, and I'm going to maybe I'll come up with some cute song or something like that, but it's a mystery. So what topic is going to be on the screen for today? So here is our wheel. Put Blessed to Crochet in the middle of it, right? And let's go ahead and spin it. See what topic is going to be discussed today. Topic hopefully I know about. Oh, good. Customer service. I know about that one because I've done it for years. That's a good topic. Customer service. So I'm going to remove the customer service off the wheel, and we will stop sharing our screen. So the topic for today, and then I got to take a sip of coffee, guys, because I can't get the mind going until then, right? So topic today is customer service. That's the topic. So that's the topic for today. That's going to be the customer service topic. So the reason why I picked that is because I wanted people to have a discussion about that. And I wanted people to understand that customer service, I think, I'm not saying it's one of the hardest, but it is a difficult profession. And I call it a profession. People don't think of it as a profession. Profession. But it is a profession. And it's one I started when I was 16 years old as a cashier at Winn-Dixie. And boy, was that just that was interesting, to say the least. To say the least, I did not last very long at the Winn-Dixie because it was 16 years old. And I didn't think I could be a cashier because I was never good at math. I'm telling you, I could have told my math teachers a little bit of something. I could have surprised them, that's for sure. Because customer service can be difficult. Because here's why it can be. Customer service is difficult because sometimes you have customers that are very, very upset, okay, for whatever reason. You, as the person that's in customer service, has to be like this as they're yelling. Now, disrespect is totally different. That's totally, gotta have to sip of the coffee. Sorry, guys. My brain just doesn't work without coffee. Anyway, you have to be like this. And you could literally have the person yell at you. Now, when they start cussing and doing all that, and that's totally different. You can sit there and say, you can't talk to me like that. I'm talking about allowing them to fuss. We've all had those times where we've needed to fuss, right? There's nothing that the customer service agent can do for you while you're fussing. And there's also been days as a customer service individual that I've had to go into, welcome. Yes, of course, we try. I give it my all, that's for sure. Like I said, the morning coffee hasn't totally hit yet. But a customer service issue, you need to make sure, you're having to smile. And they're just upset. And the thing was, okay, go ahead and fuss. 10 minutes. Go ahead and tell me your problem. And then once you calm down and we can talk about it, I can see if I can help you. I can't always make it to your liking, but I will do my very best. And there's been days in customer service too that I have just had those days where I've had to go like this and my whole world is falling apart inside. When I go to a place or a store and the cashier, or even going through a fast food line and the cashier is smiling, I make sure to let them know, thank you for smiling. Thank you for, seeming happy. Because I know that there may be some that are doing this and their whole world at home is falling apart. And you can't show that. You can't show that side of you because you're trying to put that air out that everything's fine. You're there to do a job. And sometimes you have to, good morning, Cindy, sometimes you have to act. And it's not always easy. So I pick customer service because it's on my new, and it's something that I experienced. So I was 16 years old when I was a customer service agent at Winn-Dixie. Didn't last too long. I was rushed into a position I wasn't ready for. And then I went to Claire's. Those that used to, I don't know if you have a mall around you. We don't really have a mall anymore, but Claire's was big hit. And I have pierced a lot of ears down in South Florida. And I've had my share of wonderful people as far as to be able to deal with and serve and so forth, because it really is serving. You are there to serve. Yeah, you're getting paid to do it, but you're there to serve. And I remember one time, now I'm just going to make a little side note announcement. And hopefully everybody is enjoying this. And again, thank you all for showing on up. Highway 97, Kristen, Dot, Sandy, Wendy, thank you all for showing on up. I appreciate it more than you know. I hope that this will be an interesting way to do a topic. So anyway, there was a lady. She came in. Now I eventually became a manager, or a third key, which meant I had some management responsibilities and I could be left in the store by myself. Another sip of the coffee. And it was good coffee. And so anyway, so this lady came in. Now we made a policy that, or we told them, when you pierce your ears, and I used to not like piercing babies' ears. As a little side note, your ears as babies, your earlobes are not fully developed. And I could tell you more times than not when I saw ears that were pierced and their earrings started here, like very close to the ear lobe, it meant that they were most likely pierced as a baby. And they need time for those earlobes to get fully developed. And their ears are so tiny, and you hope you were going to get in the middle, but as the earlobes grow, and they grow, their earlobes will get bigger, and the middle is not the middle anymore. So she was very upset. We told her, keep the earrings in for about 6 weeks, and she took them out early. And then she had these little wire earrings, and she came in the store. She handed me the earrings. She said, I would like to have these put back in my daughter's ears. I said, ma'am, you're going to have to buy all new in what was it? I can't think what it is. In like in they're in a thing so I could put them in the gun. There was no way for me to put them in the gun loose like that, and I wouldn't have done it because I could have sterilized them with fire. I could have sterilized them with alcohol. I could have sterilized them however I wanted to, and I would never have made them sterile to put in anybody's ears by doing that. So she was very upset. And I said, well, ma'am, here's what you signed. We kept their paperwork. I said, this is what you signed. You're supposed to keep it in your daughter's ears for X amount of time. I'm very sorry. I'd like to be able to help you, but I cannot keep them. I cannot put them in your daughter's ears. She picked up a stuffed animal and threw it at me and got very angry, walked out of the store. So we had another Claire's down the other end of the mall, and I called them. I said, if a lady shows up with a pair of earrings in a bag, don't put them. They wouldn't have, but I warned them that she may be coming to the other store because it was another Claire's on the other side of the mall. So true. Thank you to your cashier or service. It goes a long way. I was a service assistant at Denny's and angry. People need special attention, and I will get the manager to help you the final. Yep. We have to. If you've got a cashier that's smiling, if you've got a cashier that is, doing things and, being able to help you and staying calm in a situation, we need to be able to sit there and assist. I had one person one time that actually let me tell you my service. Guys, this is how this brain thinks before coffee. I'm working on it. This is going to be fun. I can tell you that right now. Anyway, so after I spent about 3 years at Claire's, I went to work at. I started working in a hotel shortly. Well, it took a while, but I eventually started working in a hotel, and I wasn't really thinking about a hotel, but I was because, well, I was looking for a job. I had taken a hiatus. I had gotten into, yeah, I was up in, no, before that I was in Kroger's. I worked at a cashier, and I've linked the source. I don't know if I've linked the source. Yeah, I linked the source, that the channel, and I will be on the source on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern, just so people know. Anyway, I worked at Kroger's while I was pregnant with Christina. That was interesting. I also worked overnight a couple times. I'm not an overnight guy. I'd like to stay up, you know, to 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, but I'm not an overnight kind of girl. And then I went and I had Christina, and then I was off for about a year taking care of her. Another sip of the coffee, get the brain working even more. I start off with my coffee and my protein drink in the morning. That's my breakfast. And I actually looked for a place in where was it? It was I was just looking for jobs, and I came across a hotel that was, hiring. And I called up, I applied. The gentleman called me up and asked me for an interview, and I went in. And he said to me, he said, just so you know, about a half an hour into the interview, and he just said, just so you know, I was going to hire you anyway. He said, you were going to be hired on the spot. And he said, because he said, I loved your voice on the phone, sold me. He said, your voice and your demeanor on the phone. So people, just a little side note for anybody looking for a job. If somebody calls you for an interview, they're paying attention from the very, very beginning. They said, even before you walked in, he said, I was going to literally hire you on the spot. And it was actually for a PBS operator, which was a phone operator. Remember whoever that lady was with the phones, and she's going like that, but it was a computer that had all these extensions. Believe me, I memorized all these extensions for sure. And so anyway, it was a PBS operator at a hotel. And then I started working in about every aspect of the hotel. I did concierge. I went and worked in the housekeeping laundry area for a day or two here. I even tried to go and get hospitality management degree, which failed. I didn't finish that, but still, I tried. I really wanted to work in sales to put parties together. Can you see the personality here? That's where I really wanted to do, was put parties together and weddings and all that kind of stuff. That's what I wanted to do. That would have been it. I did help in banquet a little bit. I mean, I literally worked every aspect of the hotel. And then I worked at after I got done with the hotel, and the last hotel I worked at, they wanted me overnight. Night audit. He did it. Josh and I had just gotten married. It was least favorite part of the job that I liked. And so I then went and worked at a car dealership, and I worked there for 6 years. And boy, do I have some stories when it comes to the car dealership. But anyway, there was a woman there, and she would come in. And I'm telling you guys, the minute she came in, everybody would go, "Oh, she's here. The lady's here." They knew her. She was not nice. I had one lady used to come in, and I called her my woo-woo lady. She used to come in, and I go, "How you doing today?" She goes, "Woo-woo, woo-woo." She was a hoot. But anyway, this other lady was not a hoot. And so she came in. And so she came to my window, and she just looked at her watch, and she goes, "My car, please. I need to get home. I need to go have lunch." Now, here's the thing. There was something else going on behind the scenes, for sure. And I will get to your comment in just a minute, 97. Understand, guys, the morning thing is going to, until the coffee kind of hits, my brain don't work too well. Anyway, so I just said to her, I said, I knew something else was going on. I could tell. And she says, I'm a diabetic. Well, the minute she said she was a diabetic, I had Josh is a diabetic at home. So I knew, when she pulled out what is called a CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor, I knew that something, right, was, she was going to need to, oops, wrong button. She was, the way she was acting, I knew. She goes, I'm this, I think she was like in her like 70 or something, which is low. It's getting low. She was getting nervous. I knew that. I knew the way she was acting. She was getting nervous. So we had like across the hall, across the way, there was 3 car dealerships in this car dealerships. We were in the middle. I said to her, would you like a tuna fish sandwich? She said, oh, yes. So I called the next door, had a little cafe. I ordered a sandwich for her. Took it out of petty cash, got my valet. He went over and got the sandwich, the fries, and a drink. And he came back, and my manager signed for the petty cash, but I would have paid for it out of my own pocket. And so, because her car was about 20 minutes out, it wasn't going to be ready when she wanted it ready. And so I said to my valet, I said, you got to go get me a chair, because we didn't have any chairs where I was sitting. I said, you got to go in the waiting room, get me a chair. And so got me a chair, and I had her sit right down there with me. The reason I had her sit down right there with me is because of what her sugar was doing. So she sat there, and her sugar was dipping down even more, right? Then I was going to be there to kind of catch her a little bit. If I needed to call the emergency services, I was going to be aware of what was happening very quickly, and I could call for emergency services. So that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and I had her sit down. She had her lunch. She felt better. Her car was running in about 20 minutes, half an hour, and she felt safe. I will tell you one thing. After that, I could do no wrong with this lady. She was just like, you see this girl over here? I will fuss at anybody at this dealership except for this girl. So sometimes when you're dealing with somebody in customer service, the customer at times, there's something else going behind the scenes like it was for this lady. Room service, restaurant delivery, guy service, assistant, trainer. I train people in the service industry. Allie drove a driver truck to every Home Depot, headed to deal with receivers at Home Depot. Well, that's a lot of customer service, and we thank you. Because customer service people are not thanked enough. I truly, truly believe it. And while we're doing this, we're going to take a little break for just a minute, and I have some memberships to give away. It's membership gifting time. I did find out. Where's it? No, that's not it. Oh, I'm in the wrong one. I did find out, just for people that are YouTubers. YouTube gives the content creator 10 memberships a month to give out away. And yep, I have 10. And so the one thing I did find out recently was that, and we do this on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month. Mon got one, Aquarius got one, Panda got one, Karen got one, and Cosmic got one. But if you are a branded account, they don't give it to you. So we found that out. So as long as we're not branded, and Blessed to Crochet isn't a branded account yet, once that we become a branded account down the road, we won't be able to gift those memberships. They don't give it to those that were gifted memberships. But if that happens, when we become branded down the road, we'll do our own give away memberships a couple times, a couple times a month. But they do not, if you're a branded account, you don't have that ability to give memberships like this. But if you're not, then you can give memberships. So we're going to keep us unbranded for as long as we can do it. I need coffee too. I can smell the coffee someone is making at my house. Got to get my coffee now. So I'm still listening. Thanks for serving others. No worries. I love that. Yeah, I have to have my coffee. And on our link tree, a branded account, you see those accounts, Sandy, that have like the little blue check marks? Eventually down the road, we'll have to be a branded account just because we want to make sure that nobody's taking our stuff and putting it anyplace else. It just certifies, like when you go to places and you see that little blue check mark, you know that that's their account. Like some of these celebrities or so forth. If you go on Facebook and you see a blue check mark, then it means that that's their official account. And you'll see some people trying to pop up with fake accounts and they don't have that blue check mark. It's not their official account. Like I got a friend request from somebody that I follow, and guess what? He was doing his pictures and his videos and everything on Facebook. It said his name, but it didn't have that blue check mark. So I looked at the guy that I follow, one of the comedians I follow, and he had his blue check mark. So I knew that account was fake. So that's how you can tell that you're following somebody that's official. Official is by that blue check mark. We don't have that yet, but as long as we don't, we can do these gifted memberships through YouTube. Once we become branded, we can't do that anymore. And then what we'll do is twice a month, we'll still gift memberships away. Even if they have to come out of our pocket, we will gladly do that. 10 memberships a month. That's going to stick. But on our link tree, you'll see a referral code for Coffee AM. And let me tell you, that's what's in my coffee. And it's, I think, vanilla this morning. Delicious coffee. Best coffee. Delicious. And I've called their customer service, by the way. Excellent customer service. I have the pickleballs to try, but with my stomach, I just haven't felt like trying them. Christina tried them though, and we got a real good review from her. And we're working to get that coffee drink I was talking about to our house, but Amazon. Sorry. Hold on a second, guys. Amazon is still having trouble finding us again. God help us. Their customer service can be a little bit dicey at times, but they're trying to find us again. So as soon as the coffee stuff comes, this coffee syrup stuff instead of chocolate milk, we will try that and then put it in some kind of short or something like that. And I dyed those coffee filters for that project, so I'm going to record the other half of it and put that out. I think I was thinking of putting it out for Easter, and that would be a good time to put that video out. So, and I'll get caught up with devotions. But so anyway, back to customer service. So a lot of times, just like anything else in life, it is not always the issue does not become what is, necessarily on the front. The issue often is what's behind there. And you're like a detective in customer service because you have to find out what's the issue. There's something else going on. It's like that lady that was at the cash register, and it had nothing to do, right, with her car being done. Her sugar was crashing. She was getting nervous. She was getting scared. She wanted to be home. She wanted to get her lunch, and she was worried. So it had nothing to do with the fact that her car wasn't ready. It was behind that. Now, one of the ones I can tell you that was really was pretty horrible was we had a gentleman of ours, and I've told this story before, but he was in a motorcycle accident, Mike, and he did not make it. And so come around the corner, and we knew that he was most likely not going to. We were hoping, we were pulling for him. And he left behind like 7 or 8 kids and a wife. And so my boss comes around the corner, and I said to him, I said, "How's Mike?" And he just looked at me. And I knew, just he didn't have to say much. So he was going to tell us, he was going through and, going through and telling the crew in the back. And he wasn't the head mechanic, but he was top. He was up there. And a lot of the guys liked him. He was super nice. He was a Greek. Super nice, very friendly. He was really nice to a lot of people. And he wore, instead of a full helmet, he wore a half helmet, and it didn't cover all of his stuff, his head, unfortunately. And so we had just found out the news. I'm at the desk crying. I'm trying to get myself together. I finally got myself together. And there was a couple there. The gentleman came to me and said, "How much longer for my car?" And I said to him, "Sir, I apologize for the delay, but we just found out one of our crew members passed away. And I know that the guys in the back just heard the news. We're going to get your car to you in a few minutes, but it's going to be a few minutes behind." This gentleman he must have been having a really rough day. I mean, really. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to him. He just looked and goes, "That's not my problem." And I have never in my life, as a cashier, wanted to ever do it. I was inside. I was like, I was so upset because I knew what those guys in the back place were doing. They were surrounded. They were being told. There was guys crying back there. I just knew it. And I'm thinking, this gentleman in our crew just passed away. And you are being so rude. And he goes, "But that's just not my problem." And I said, "Well, sir, we'll get your car to you as fast as we can. And I'll check on it right now." And the entire time I had to be like this. Even though I wanted to tell him off in the worst way, because he was so rude. He was so unfeeling about his fellow man. It was absolutely it was horrible. It was just horrible. Another sip of the coffee. And it was an absolutely, it was a horrible thing. Oh yes. I thought there had to be something humble. This man didn't have a humble part in his body. Absolutely not. I will tell you one of the most interesting ones we had. It was late in the evening. Now, this is South Florida. This is the summer. So it could get in 95 degrees easy, so forth. It was a lady that came through about 6 o'clock, 6:30. Josh had come pick me, going to pick me up at work. And so this lady had come through, and she had like an SUV with like a grill in the front of it. She said, "I think something's stuck in my grill." Okay. So one of the mechanics come out. Josh comes out, and Josh was there. And so he was helping a friend of ours that's no longer with us. And he was helping him and trying to get this thing out of the grill of the car. And it was a seagull. It had been in her grill all day long in the South Florida heat. Poor bird. Well, guess what? We took Bird home. I knew we named it something. I can't remember what we named it. And we put it in a box. And of course, tonight it will cool off. So we put it in a box, and we had to keep it outside. And we called up, and the local nature preservative or whatever preservation place in Florida, we called up, and they had somebody there at 8 o'clock in the morning take this bird back to the sanctuary. And we were able to call and find out about it. I think it had a broken wing, and so forth. And Josh, and you're welcome. We gift the memberships. Like I said, every YouTube gives them us for free. We don't, we don't get anything for the gifted memberships, um, for those 10, but we do them because YouTube allows us to do it. And we want to give back. So like I said, when we eventually down the road become a branded account, we won't be able to do that, but we will absolutely still gift memberships from Blessed to Crochet. But anyway, we had to call the nature preserve, and they came and got the bird, and he said it had a broken wing, and they fixed it up, and they nursed it back to health, and they released it. But this lady just was, she never even asked about the bird. I thought, my goodness gracious, but there's this, I don't know how, I have no idea how that seagull got way up there. I have no idea. I mean, seagulls aren't small little birds either. I mean, it got wedged up in that poor lady's thing. It was far away from the beach, that I'll tell you. It was probably about 20 minutes, half an hour away from the beach. She went to work with the seagull stuck in her grill. That was interesting. Oh boy. We had at the hotel where I was working, we had for a while there, every year for 2 weeks, the Greek Orthodox, or not Greek Orthodox, the Jewish community would come. They'd rent out the entire hotel, and they would you couldn't bring any food, even the associates that worked there, because everything was kosher and everything. They couldn't even bring their own food in. Everything had to be kosher. They rented out every room and every banquet hall, and I was working the concierge area, and they even rented up, they had that up there, and they would put food out and everything. And listen, I'm not here, I'm just telling you, I love everybody, no matter what religion you are, so forth and so on. But when they would leave, of course, I had to go up and get the cashier or the concierge. Now, the concierge upstairs was for the people that were in the Marriott system, were like higher level, and they would get the concierge, they get breakfast, and they'd have hors d'oeuvres in the evening and so forth. And I'm telling you, I know that it's part of their religious time during that time that they don't really clean up after anything. But that place was a mess, and it wasn't a very big place. But I said to my boss, I did it 2 years in a row, and I said to him on the second year, I said, listen, it take me 4 hours to clean this place upstairs. I said, listen, next year when they come, which is fine, have them come and so forth, and we would, whatever rules that they had and they set forth, we would follow as employees. Nice. I mean, they couldn't have been nicer. Nice people, nice community, wonderful, really, so forth. Wonderful. And, but they totally, absolutely booked the whole hotel. Nobody except for that community could come in. And there was, I think, 224 rooms, something like that. I mean, it was pretty significant. And I just said to my boss, I said, next year, I said, you're going to have housekeeping come help me, because I'm not doing this again. I said, I have no problem going up there and getting it all ready to go and so forth, but you're going to have to send somebody, housekeeping, to come in and help me clean. Because I said, I am not cleaning this by myself. After the second year, I said I was done. But I'm not criticizing it in any way, shape, or form. They were very nice people. But that concierge place, they just left. I couldn't believe it. And then once I learned, and here's another thing too, it's a different culture. So we have to realize it kind of lends into this. It's a different culture. And I had to, instead of being kind of upset that they left a mess, I wasn't too thrilled with having to clean it up, but I took the time to understand the culture. And so I did some research about what their 2-week period is and what they do and what their traditions are and why are they doing this and why are they doing that. And so I took the moment, instead of getting frustrated with the situation, I could not be happy about having to do it, but instead of being frustrated with it, I took the time to understand why. Why was why were they doing this? And so we have to understand, when we are serving as either the person that is the in customer service or the customer, and maybe you're watching this, there are different cultures happening all the time, right? And so I had to take the time, because it was a different culture I wasn't familiar with, to understand them a little bit. Like I think we need to do with just basic human being, is we have to understand different cultures. And I had to understand, well, why are they doing this? And why are they doing that? And why are they doing this? Okay. This is not that they're doing this just to be, this or that. They're doing this because this is part of, the way that they observe these 2 weeks. And it made it so that I, as a person, wasn't upset. I just said to my boss, if it's taking me 3 hours, hold on, you need to go by? I'll be back in a minute. If it's taking, it's okay, just leave it. If it's taking me 3 hours to clean the place, 3 or 4 hours, and then I would have to, get ready and go to work after that. And so I was usually exhausted after I got done with working, cleaning this place. And then he would say, okay, go home and get ready. And I was like, okay. I just said, and the checkout was at 12, and we had to be ready for the concierge lounge for our regular people that were coming in to stay. We had to be ready for them at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. So I had to get up there and clean, and it would take me 3 or 4 hours to get it back in shape. And then I'd have to go home and come back or so forth and get ready to, roll out or something like that, get ready to work after that. I don't know if I went home after that. I don't know if I did, but I can't remember. But still, I mean, by the time I got done for the night, I was exhausted. And I just said, I can't do all of this that needs to get done. We got to have somebody come in here, just help me for a little bit, whether they vacuum and they do some to make this shorter so it's not so lengthy. But again, understanding their culture, understanding their rituals and so forth helped me understand. I found myself not getting frustrated. And when you're dealing in customer service, you're also dealing with a lot of different cultures and a lot of different personalities. There's some and personalities you just don't get along with. Does anybody put some ones in the chat if you do? Does anybody know who Debbie Reynolds is? We'll see who's does anybody remember Debbie Reynolds? Krista Melinda knows who she was, knew who she is. So I got a story about Debbie Reynolds. But anyway, pay attention to the different cultures that are around. So I was working was I working on the phones at the time? Yeah, I was working on the phones. And so I was working on the phones, And all of a sudden, I'm like, there was this room. We had a presidential suite, 707. I remember the presidential suite number. And I called this, or no, they called me. And I mean, that phone was ringing. You couldn't believe how many times that phone would ring. And I was sitting there going, my Lord. And I was getting frustrated with it a little bit because I was sitting there thinking to myself, they wanted the next room over. And I thought, all they have to do is just dial, 706. That's all they have to do. It's real simple. That phone was ringing. And I hang up. The phone ring again in 5 minutes. Can I have this? Yes. And I was sitting there thinking, and it said Reynolds on it. I didn't connect the dots, right? And it was slow. So I went out to see my boss, Stephen, and I said, Stephen, can I ask you, who's in 707, please? Because this time I'm starting to get really kind of frustrated. I mean, they're calling pretty consistently, trying to get to the next room. And understand there was a door. So all they needed to do, too, was walk through the door and to the next room. Or knock on the door or so forth. So anyway, he said, Debbie Reynolds is in that room. I said, what? Because I knew who she was. He said, you know who Debbie Reynolds is? Yes, I said, the unsinkable Molly Brown. And I knew who Debbie Reynolds was, singing in the rain and all this kind of stuff. So I stayed out on the front desk for a few minutes, and sure enough, she was going to be checking out. And I saw her. And as a person, I couldn't go up to her and say, excuse me, can I have an autograph? Because I would have loved to take a moment and have an autograph. We didn't have any, cell phone things in my bobbies, and that I could take a picture. I'd have loved to have been able to take a picture. And sure enough, she just went by. I got to see her. She said, bye. They said she was so nice. She came down. She was at a Coral Springs Performing Little Arts place. They had a little theater there. And she said she came down that previous night. She sat at the bar. She ordered people drinks and paid for them. They said she was very, very nice. And I saw her. She just walked by. So I didn't get to meet Debbie Reynolds, but I got to talk to her on the phone. I got so frustrated because I was sitting there thinking to myself, boy, oh boy, can you call another time? I don't know how many times she called within about a half an hour, but I was like, my goodness. As soon as I hung up the phone, a few minutes later, can I have a 7? So I'm like, here you go. So you see what these topic Wednesdays are going to be, right? I will try to have some of the stuff I put on there, I don't know anything about. I can tell you a little bit about what I put on. So hold on a second. I think I got rid of it. And you all can, I know I put autism on there. I put autism so we could go through some of these topics. But anyway, take some time within your customer service. Your dealings with people, customer service, just tell them, take a moment and say, you know what? Thank you for just being, doing your job. If they're smiling, tell them thank you. Understand that there's different cultures. Understand that there's days where they're going to kind of have difficulties. They may be putting a smile on their face. Be patient. They're doing a really difficult job. And a lot of times, I'm telling you, more than the praises, they really get a lot of flack. They get a lot of flack for what they have to do. They get a lot of people that are going to sit there and yell at them, for something they can't help. I remember one time I was at the car dealership and I got a phone call. Now it's about 6:58. And this gentleman spent about 20 minutes on the phone. I didn't answer the phone till it was 7 o'clock. And then after that, I didn't have to answer it because I had to close the thing. I had to focus on counting money in my register and everything. And so he was sitting there yelling at me on the phone. And he says, well, I want my car. And so there was one, I think, mechanic left or sales guy left, service guy left. And I said to the service guy, what about this car? And he said, it's in pieces in the back of the, garage. He said, it's not going to be ready today. And so I'm on the phone with him and I said, sir, I said, there is nothing that I can do to get your car ready. I said, all the mechanics have gone home. Your car has some pieces out of it. You certainly don't want me putting it back in there. But he literally was on the phone with me for at least 20 minutes. And all I could do was just listen. And at the very end, there was a gentleman there that he really became like an uncle to me. Wonderful guy named Paulie. He's not here anymore. And he just came through and he said, I was listening to your side for 20 minutes. He said, I do not know how you did it. He said, you were so patient. The guy finally hung up on me. I was just like, thank goodness. And I'm not answering the phone again tonight. I don't care what it is. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there is nothing, sir. I can't do anything. I can't put your car back together. But he was just screaming at me. And, we have to realize that if we can go to a customer, I know there's times and situations where you're upset, you're frustrated, and it's a difficult situation. I understand that. With what's going on with Amazon, believe me, we were supposed to get that coffee drink on Monday. You know what they put in their thing? Can't deliver it. Severe weather. The severe weather in our local area was rain or sun and wind. There was no severe weather after this girl's been in Florida with hurricanes. This wind and sun is not in my top 10 of severe weather. And then they said they were having difficulty finding us. This is after we fought for them with 3 weeks to get packages back routed to our house because they were delivering it to Louisiana, because there's a same town in Louisiana as there is in Ohio. So now we're going to be on the phone fighting with them again to hopefully get the packages rerouted here. That was our severe weather. That's why we didn't get it. I don't know. We'll see if we get it today. Miracles can happen. But the point of it is, we have to realize that if you are upset about a situation, and it's really hard not to be, especially if there's emotions attached. When I am dealing with Josh and his medical issues, or my daughter with her medical issues, and I would have to come with the insurance companies, boy, oh boy, the emotions got here. If we can stay calm, even if we could still be upset, and we could let them know we're upset. We can let them know, hey, you know what? We're not happy. Yesterday, because I was starting to feel a little bit better, Mom went with Mom went and took Christina to the dentist. I couldn't go. You know what they gave her at the dentist? An emotional support carrot. That was too funny. She said, Mom, I got an emotional support carrot. Because she will, when we take her to the dentist, she will squeeze my hand. I have black and blue marks after I get done. And she can't squeeze my mom's hand like that. So they gave her an emotional support carrot. That was so cool. But anyway, they ended up, what was it? So yesterday we just ordered something from a local restaurant, and I couldn't even eat something because it was so salty. All you tasted was salt. And I called them up. Now I was not happy. And the gentleman said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, you might want to try whatever it was. I'm not going to say the restaurant and so forth. And I didn't want to call DoorDash because, and we don't often order from DoorDash at all, but there was this lovely woman and her son was helping her deliver food. I thought that was wonderful. I didn't want to do anything because I thought, she's working hard. She's got her son helping her mama. And I told him, I said, good job helping your mama. And so I called the restaurant directly, and he said, oh, I'm so sorry. I said, well, you need to try whatever that was. I said, all you taste was salt. And he said, well, would you like to come in the next couple of days? And he said, we'll make it right. We'll do it again. I said, well, thank you very much. Now, I was not happy, but I knew that if I could stay, calm and peaceful, everything was going to be well. It was another time, it was a while back, it was last year. And Josh and I ordered pizza from Pizza Hut, which we don't very often do either. And there was a lady, and we were waiting for our pizza. I don't know how many hours we were waiting for it. And we finally got it delivered at like 11 o'clock at night. It was ridiculous. It was cold, couldn't even eat it. And I called her up and I explained the situation. She was crying on the phone. She said, I am so sorry. We got a whole new computer system at work. She said, these people don't know how to use it. I don't know how to. She said, we're just scrambling. And she said, people called out at work. And yeah, it's not our problem. It's their problem, correct? But as someone who's been on the other side of that customer service angle, boy, oh boy, I had sympathy. And they did give us a store credit to use for another order, but I listened to her for a minute. She said, you do not know how many customers have called and screamed and yelled at me tonight. And I wasn't one of them. She said, you've been the nicest one so far. She said, everybody else has absolutely screamed and yelled at me. You know, we have to think for ourselves. These are people that are serving us. And can we serve them with a little bit of kindness? I know we're upset. I know we're angry with the situation. It may be emotional, depending on what it is. But we should be sitting there with some kind of gratitude. You know, they're just trying to do their job. And sometimes it's not easy to go in. And there was a lot of times I'd go in tired. I was raising a special needs child, or I was a single mother. And there was a lot of stuff going on. And I would have to go in like this and pretend everything was okay. And it was really difficult a lot of times. A lot of times I had a lot of wonderful things. And I think that people don't realize that they don't get paid. I mean, they get paid more than now than what they used to. But their pay is not spectacular either. And I think that some of these jobs are certainly great for starter outers, first people like McDonald's and Burger King and all that. The great first starter jobs. It gets them into the workplace. It gets them some knowledge and so forth. And some people do it for a career for their entire lives. But we need to, when we're seeing somebody either that or they're having a bad day and you can tell, give that cashier, even if they're, I've come across where I'm like, could you have a little bit more personality? Could you smile at me? Could you let me know that my being here is worth it? Because they're just, and one of the things that is Christina as a cashier, which just still floors me, a lot of her people come through and say, if you're here, we go through your line because you're just so friendly and kind. And so if we see somebody struggling, just say, you know what? I hope you have a really good day. I'm sorry. I've sat there and said, I'm really sorry. It looks like you're having a really hard day. I'm really sorry. And I've given them a smile. So we need to be a little bit more kind to the people in customer service. Please don't throw anything at them. If you have a seagull in your grill, stop by the car dealership early. Be nice. Give them a smile. Tell them thank you for what they do. They don't get that enough. I'm telling you, they don't. So here are some of the topics that I did that I have on the wheel. We have fear, social media, learning disability, special needs parenting, online dating, anger, humor, friendship, favorite trip as a teenager, raising teenagers, networking, environment, workplace, customer service. No, we already did that one. Didn't remove it. I'll have to remove it. Movies, self-image, procrastination, aging, beauty, future, body language, culture, empathy, confidence, exercise, compassion, decision-making, education, love, behavioral therapy, growing up, emotions, family, happiness, leaderships, motivation, trust, worthy, therapy, weathering storms and preparation, recipe and meal preparation, music, grief, autism, depression, food addiction, family member with addiction, self-care, fibromyalgia, divorce, single parenting, chronic pain, advice to new moms, dementia, community, anxiety, bullying, peer pressure. I'm reading this as it's spinning, guys, believe it or not. Talking down about yourself, hobbies, marriage, boundaries, communication, forgiveness, parenting styles, food, and domestic abuse. I think I got them all. So that's all that I have on there. If anybody has any other topics, we'll throw them on. And for those that did not see, I can show it to you. So this is the wheel. This is, if there's another wheel that we can get through the Streamlabs at the end of the month, then I'll make a new wheel. But that's what the wheel looks like. And we just give it a spin and see what comes up. But that's what our wheel looks like. And I think how many topics mine is today. I don't know. It doesn't tell me. But anyway, that's the wheel. And if anybody has any other topics that we can add to it, let me know. I'll be glad to add topics. Some of it's going to be literally like this morning. We're just shooting from the hip. I will in May open it up for anybody that wants to come on, and we'll have panels, people, and we just spin the wheel and see what topic comes up. So that'll start in May, and that'll be open to anybody that wants to participate in that. I just wanted to do it for the first couple times, and then of course we'll be doing it under Streamlabs, which will be a whole different way of inviting people. And so give me a little time, but we'll do it next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is, today is the 16th. So we've got the 23rd and the 30th, 2 more Wednesdays. And then the first Wednesday is like the 7th. So let's plan on the 7th. Hey, James, how you doing? Popping in to say, feel better soon, Mary, my friend who lost his leg, walk again. I'm going to visit him today. Well, wonderful. Please let him know these people thinking about him and keep going. And you tell him you want to show him them. I raised Floppy to him. There's Floppy. Just for trying. Just for trying. You tell him I raised Floppy to him. I'm feeling better. I'm slowly getting better. I had a little bit of a stomach bug the past couple of days. I'm really, really sore. I'm really hurting today and yesterday and the day before. So I'm going to take it easy. I've had a blanket, seriously, that needed to get done. I'm almost done with it. I've been taking it really easy. And I've got to put this channel on our in our little thing. Our can't remember what it is now. Our Nightbot thing. But there's a channel I have found, and they're just a hoot, this couple. They really are. It's Our Life's Adventures. And this couple has 8 monkeys and a whole different farm animals and all this kind of stuff. And if we ever grow big enough, I'd love to have them on, because man, do I want to make them a blanket. Once I get done with about, I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 blankets. I'm going to really work on trying to do a pattern. Actually, I have 5 blankets. Doing our own patterns, and I want to do a monkey pattern. But trying to watch this family with these monkeys, I'm telling you what, oh goodness, it is a hoot. If you need a laugh, go watch this. And they've got 8 monkeys: Birdie, Bunny, Bear, Rooster, Bella, Cricket. I forgot the other one. Oh, Froggy. They've got 8 monkeys, and it is a hoot to watch this couple with these monkeys. I'm telling you. They don't tell people how to get monkeys. They're not for everybody for sure, but I'm telling my husband said, no, you can't have a monkey. I said, we already have one. She's in the other room. Her name is Mocha. I said, no, I don't want a monkey, but they've been somebody who I've just watched and not laughed. They're silly, and the monkeys are. And my husband was listening to the thing I was playing last night, and he said that he was laughing at the gentleman, and I said, the two of you would be in so much trouble with each other. He said, yeah, we would. We'd be in a lot of trouble. So if anybody can think of any other topics, I may add like trying new things on there. But let's shoot for the 7th to open it up for anybody that wants to come on panel and just spin the wheel and see what we come up with and start talking about it. I think it'll be really good. It's going to be a challenge for me to get up. I don't, and I've got the coffee with me. So as you can see, it took me a little while to get going this morning, and that's exactly what, but I figured there may be some people that are, oh yeah, they still are around. They still exist. They're still here. And we have our counseling session at, Josh says this is 11, mine at 12. So usually I'm up anyway. I have to get up. Yep. I think it's going to be fun. And I think too, when we spin the wheel and we have people on panel and we just start talking, not knowing what we're going to talk about, I think we're going to come up with some interesting things. I think that'll be really cool. And, but anyway, we have our session at the counselor. We do it by phone. And so I have to be up usually anyway, no later than about 10:30, so I can have my coffee and somewhat think by noon. And then Mr. Blessed Crochet has his, but we don't usually go anyplace anyway till afternoon if we're going anyplace on a Wednesday. And I know that a lot of people is like, it's sleeping awful late or whatever it is. Realize that somebody is a chronic pain patient. As a chronic pain patient, I am dealing with chronic pain, and I am so tired and so sore from the past couple of days that, sometimes I'm up at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9, but a lot of times I have a lot of trouble going to sleep, and then I wake up throughout the night, and then sometimes the best sleep I get is from like 6 to 11 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why. And if I get up and it's light out and I go back to sleep, I usually just sleep myself out. And usually, as a chronic pain patient, as somebody who has fibromyalgia, a lot of patients will tell you that they wake up and they feel like they haven't slept at all. I went to sleep, I think, about 1 o'clock in the morning. Maybe it was 2. I slept till 10. I woke up a couple times in the middle of the night. I still feel like I haven't slept at all. You're always tired. And I'm more tired and sore because of the past couple of days, but I'll get through it. Again, I will be on the source. I will put it here for anybody that is looking for it. I will be on the source. I'm going to put it on the channel. I've got to come up with a thumbnail. I will be on the source on Saturday at 4 o'clock, and then we're having Easter with the kids. Yes, they're still my kids, and they will be. So I have to get it to share. And I will be on his channel and at 4 o'clock on Saturday. So hopefully you'll join me then. He has 5 questions that he does. This is the live for it. And we are scheduled. Had that for quite a while. And I will post it. I think he probably has it. I have to go into the link he sent me, but I will post it on this channel. I'm very careful how I do that and the amount of times I do that, because I don't want YouTube to look at it as reusable content. And it can. And then you have to submit stuff. It's a whole mix of stuff, but I would rather try to limit that as much as I possibly can. And I think that as long as you're doing a lot of other content, it kind of goes in. And then hopefully next week I'll start with going through the old videos and pulling out some little nuggets of stuff. That's what we'll start hopefully next week. Look out on Thursday or Friday for the noodle pudding recipe. If that's something you would like to have for Easter, I'll put that out either tomorrow or Thursday. Saturday, probably it'll come out tomorrow, hopefully. Saturday is going to be taco salad recipe. Sunday is going to be the craft with the coffee filters and making flowers out of those. So there was no way to do that via any other way than to pre-record it, because you had to do coffee filters and let them dry. So I'm going to try very hard to get that done, if not today, if not on Friday, but we'll see how the day goes today. I don't plan on doing much tomorrow. I have to go to Hobby Lobby. More yarn. My daily thing, yarn. Never have enough yarn. Sorry, guys. Never have enough yarn. That's my excuse. It's for a lady in our church that's going through a difficult time right now. So we are here to help. And not that it's ever expected, but I will play this for our members. Just to say thank you for our members. And at the very end, it does have the disco ball saying, I found these at the Dollar Tree. Aren't those cute? I put 2 of them back there. I'm going to put some on the wall. Disco ball eggs. But at the very end, it says thank you. And so whether you're able to contribute by supporting the channel through membership or not, we still thank you for being here. We thank you for showing up regardless. So at the very end, I get to see Elvis. At the very end, you hear thank you very much. And we get to dance a little bit. So here we go.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So again, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here for the first Mystery Topic Wednesday. So hopefully you liked it. Hopefully you brought your coffee. I'm not even done with that yet. Halfway through it. I'm going to take it easy again today. I'm sore all over. Getting through it one day at a time. That's all I can do. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you had fun. I forgot. I'm going to have to put... Do I still have St. Patty's Day on there? Oh my goodness. I do have St. Patty's Day. I'm behind the 8 ball. I just love that. Thank you, Sandy. I'll have to go grab a bunny real quick. I have to go get a bunny. I'll have to go do that today, because I still have St. Patty's Day on there. Boy, oh boy. I'm late to the game, guys. This month has been, with Patty and everything, it's been hard. Well, you know what? You always use a 4-leaf clover. That's for sure. But I will definitely I'll have to update that. That's for sure. So thank you for joining us today for Mystery Topic Wednesday. I'm going to go ahead and I think I found those pictures with the little animals with the magnifying glass. I think they're adorable. So I may do some of those. There was one with a little monkey. They're so cute. I'll have to see if I can find some more of them and use those. But I will set it up. It will be at 9:45 a.m. I may try to see if we can get a song going for it, so I can do a trailer beforehand, get everybody ready for a Mystery Topic Wednesday. I'll see what Sona or whatever that app is those songs can do. So I'm going to let you all go. Josh is starting his session soon, and I have to get ready for mine. And just going to take the day easy, and I'm going to catch up with the devotions today. I do apologize for the delay, but I was not up to it the past couple days. And I know we usually do Monday with Mama, but it's not happening. I want to get caught up. I've got Tuesdays ready to go. I just was not up to even editing it yesterday. So I'm just going to get Monday, and we'll start back with her next week. So anyway, thank you all for joining us today. Hope you had fun. I sure did. Customer service, boy. Remember, just give a smile. Tell them thank you. Even when they are looking like they don't want to be there, just encourage them. If they're smiling, say thank you. Tell them thank you for smiling. If they're having a good attitude, tell them thank you. If you're upset about something, calm yourself down and go to them and discuss it. Get to what the problem is first, and they often will do what they can to help or make the situation as correct as they possibly can. They are human beings. They are working, and a lot of times, whatever you're upset about, it's not necessarily them. It's people above them, and they're just following what they've been told to do. And we need to extend them a little grace sometimes, because we don't know what's going on in their lives. Just like that woman with the sugar. We have no idea. And a lot of times there's a lot of people, I do believe, in customer service that are sitting there going like this. And they're really they're really going through a hard time, maybe a loss of somebody, parenting issues, special needs children, all that, family situation at home, whatever it may be. They're just trying to do their best. They're trying to serve you. It is not an easy, hi, flower child, how are you? If you haven't hit that subscribe button, please hit it. I'd appreciate it. Just take a moment and just extend that hand and just say, thank you for what you do. It's a very, very underappreciated profession, because we just expect them to be there. We expect them to do it. And I can tell you that if I can, there's sometimes I'll go through, thank you very much. Sometimes I'll go through, a self-checkout, but a lot of times I'll go through a cashier. I think the self-checkouts are just, we had what was it? The car dealership. I left before they did, but eventually they were going through and they were getting rid of the cashiers, and they were going to go and have all the sales guys do all the stuff from start to finish. And I thought that was the most foolish thing under the sun, because we as cashiers at that car dealership, and I'll end with this because I can hear him on the phone and you'll hear him. The car dealership was doing is, what happened? We built relationships with these people. They came in to do their car, and we knew them. We knew their car. We knew them. We knew their name. We had built a relationship. I'd been there for 6 years. The lady that came in, who I knew was my woo-woo lady, right? She come in and I said, how you doing? And she goes, woo-woo. And I go, woo. And we built a relationship. The lady with the high blood or the sugar, I knew her. I'd say hello. I had a lovely gentleman. He was Greek, and he'd come in and I say hello. I said, hey, Dukinis, which is how are you? And we built a relationship. He brought me the most delicious baklava I've ever had in my entire life. And so I'm telling you, we built a relationship. And I thought when they were going to do this, I thought, man alive, I thought this is going to be a disaster, because they looked forward to coming to us. I know it was saving steps and saving dollars on the company's end, but these sales guys were busy. The service guys were busy. Sometimes they'd have, car after car after car. They were doing paperwork. And I thought, hi, Lady Crochet, they are losing the connection that we've built with these customers. And they're coming here, and we've built this relationship, and we've talked to them, and we've gotten to know them, and all this kind of stuff. They're losing that. So I will go through the cashier, the so forth, and the cashier. I'll go through it every once in a while, but every so often I'm going through the thing. I want to see the cashier. I want to say hello. I want to acknowledge if they're smiling. If they're having a rough day, I want to say, you know what, thank you for what you're doing. So just realize customer services people don't always have the easiest job, and they're just trying to serve you. And because you can hear now everything that Mr. Blester Crochet is saying, because I can guarantee you it's about Amazon. Maybe they'll find us again. Maybe we're lost. I have no idea. I have no idea what's going on with Amazon. Maybe we're going back to Louisiana and we're still here. I have no idea. But anyway, join us next Wednesday for Mystery Topic Wednesday. And on the 7th, we'll start having people that want to come on panel and just spin the wheel and see what we're going to talk about. So I will put all the topics I have on the wheel. If you have something to add, you can put it in the community post, and I will also put it in our Lighthouse Beacons group too as well. So again, goodbye again. Hopefully you had a great coffee. I still finished my coffee. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Hit that subscribe button. Remember, be proud of being yourself. Everyone else is taken, and we have you covered. Thank you so much for having us covered, and keep crocheting that connection. No crochet hook required. See you next week for sure. And we'll see you before then, of course, on Mystery Topic Wednesday. I'll get it right eventually. I promise. Coffee is finally starting to work. All right. Love y'all. Bye-bye, everybody.
So proud of being